Howdy, folks, and welcome. It is the Midweek Obliteration Podcast on Patreon. I am the Creepy Kentuckian, and I have a really cool co-host this week. We've had you on the show before, but it was a long time ago. I've got the date down here. It was like 14 years ago.
Oh, no. Was that with the J-Reel round table?
The round table, yeah. I was like, and this is Actualish. Mm-hmm. Also known as, you're not really using that name now, but Eric, you were emailing us around and you were wanting to talk about this too, the horror graph shit, which was 2000, early 2006, I think.
I'm going to say it was a little bit prior to you guys starting the podcast, because I remember one of you guys had it in your signature on the forum over at Horror DVDs. Do you remember that place?
Yeah. I'm sad that place, I mean, they're still around, but that was like the place back in the day. As far as forums and stuff like that, yeah. So.
And the reviews were great, too. I think I ended up doing some reviews for DEADPIT way back in the day, and I kind of used them as the benchmark. I mean, their reviews were incredibly thorough. You knew what you were getting if you read their reviews. But, yeah, I found the link to Horror Graphs, and I actually got several Romero-related autograph signatures through the mail through that, and then somehow it might have been through like a mailing list or something for Horror Graphs, where maybe you were advertising the show.
Okay, yeah, I think it was a Yahoo group or something like that back then. Whatever, Yahoo page maybe or something. I
think so. Yeah,
it was a long time ago.
And so I ended up finding you guys did the Friday the 13th thing, and then. Yeah, I think which was like your second show, and I was hooked from there on.
We only had you on the show that one time, and then maybe you called in a few times and stuff like that. So, definitely you were on the list of people I wanted to have on the midweek show for sure, because you're doing a lot of really cool stuff right now as well. And I think that we were talking about that the other night too, like all the people that kind of came from that original community that's still doing stuff in the genre. Like a lot of them have like massive YouTube followings, and where you're working with the George Romero Foundation and all that.
I get into that. I mean, I started a podcast around 2010 called Profondo Cinema that was directly, like, I would have never done that if I hadn't listened to your show. I mean, you guys were definitely the first podcast I ever listened to. And you know what I mean? I just never would have had the idea to even do that. And then we did that for several years, and then that kind of died out. And I was looking for another project, and then George passed away 4 years ago. And it was at that point I just, me and my friend Matt, Matt Blasi is my co-host on the Garf Network. He's actually been in he was a zombie in a couple of the later films, and knew George pretty well. And I just reached out to him. You want to do a George only podcast? And he was down for it. We did it. It was called WGON Radio, and we turned it into a video broadcast during COVID last March when we found StreamYard. And it wasn't too long after that where the foundation reached out to us. They wanted to do a joint event with us where we kind of hosted it on their behalf. And it was a watch along of Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, and Iron City Ass Kickers, this wrestling project that George worked on. And we had people from the cast and crew from each one. And it was literally, I mean, we put it together in just a couple of days. And, that's, 5-6 hours we're sitting there live. It was pretty wild, but we put it all together. And then shortly after that, we came on in an official capacity, and we've been doing at least a couple live video casts per month. And we've been getting really because of the access that the foundation grants us and the people involved, we've been able to get some really incredible guests.
For those that don't know, I mean, you're just a mega fan and have been for as long as I've known you of Romero's movies and all that. What was it back in the day, I take it when you were a kid, that, what movie was it that got you in? Do you remember the exact moment you saw the, whichever film it was, and what started that fandom?
I do. Well, I was, probably a lot like you, I liked, Friday the 13th, just kind of the slashers of the early 80s. But I always saw Night of the Living Dead. That title was everywhere because it was super cheap, public domain or whatever.
Right.
So I would see it in the aisle at the Winn-Dixie. It was just something that was always there. But just, I guess because it was black and white, I kept putting it off. And if I finally sat down and watched it one day, and just for whatever reason, that damn movie, it just captivated me. I was, maybe 11 years old. I think it was just the scenario, more so than just the movie just being badass. Something about it just drew me in, and I was just fascinated by it. And over the years, and Night of the Living Dead, I would have told you that was my favorite movie probably until, around the time you were starting DEADPIT. When you were starting DEADPIT, Dawn was kind of taking over my life. Mm-hmm. And now I would easily say it's Dawn. I watch, Dawn. I mean, you're a big Dawn fan. You get it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was Night of the Living Dead at an early age.
Oddly enough, like I brought this because I was thinking, okay, I'm pretty sure that, I don't know if you seen it from somebody at a convention, right? And I was like, I think so. I want to bring it up. And then I looked inside, right?
Uh-huh. Shit.
And I was like, I'm getting old, but.
Oh, fuck. Let me blow this up.
I don't know if it'll focus, but yeah, it's from you.
What does it say?
It says, please give this to CK. Thanks, Axel.
Okay, yeah, I had to send it. I sent it with Uncle Bill stuff. It's something I sold Uncle Bill in that.
Oh, okay.
I regret selling that. I sold him a. I wonder if he still has it. It was a Night of the Living Dead 90 crew jacket. I think I sent that along and just had him deliver it to you. I want to say that was from a rental shop.
I was just looking through my stuff, and I think I've got a Day of the Dead one as well, but I don't know where it's in a different box or something. But basically, like growing up in the video store, that box there and the Day of the Dead with, the yellow Day of the Dead box. I don't know if they had any other designs, but that's the main one I remember. But, as a kid, I didn't know it was the same guy that was making I didn't pay any attention, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
I think technically the first one that I ever saw was probably Night of the Living Dead as well. Mm-hmm. I remember vividly watching my grandmother's house. I think it was just on TV or something. Right, and she would watch it with me because she kind of liked it too. Mm-hmm. So, but it wasn't until much later that I realized the same guy's making all these movies.
Yeah.
So,
did you ever see Scream Greats, that Tom Savini?
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DEADPIT on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old DEADPIT radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. DEADPIT on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.